Afternoon. It's good to see you and those who have weathered the storm from wherever you came from, and it's good to see you this afternoon. This is the House Retirement Committee, and we've got a little bit of House business that we need to do. We have not voted on our rules for this term. As you know, the quorum was at 6. We had a terrible problem at the end of last session getting 6 people here, and I would recommend that we change that to 4 for a quorum. Does anyone have any opposition or reason that it should be something different? The other rules of the committee, I read through those, and I did not see any changes. But I would entertain if anyone has any question about the rules of this committee that might need to have some consideration or some changes. Boy, this is almost in a hurry. Okay. Do I have a motion that we adopt these rules? So, as amended.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, let me know by saying aye. Any opposition? Thank you so very much. So now we can get to the business at hand. I'm sorry. I should never do. Well,
cut me off. Yeah.
No, cut you off.
Yeah,
you're going to be cut. Oh, okay. You do have in your folder also the committee information. If you've not already done that, please do that and turn that in before we leave today. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started, and we will go ahead and start with House Bill 256 by Chairman Maxwell. And you also have 217 also. I do. Well, just carry both of them with you. You could have, you would have been just fine if you had remained in seat. But, okay.
256. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, I'm going back to last year before last, when I was so rudely treated in here. I hope that doesn't happen today. Y'all wore me out a couple of years ago. I'd like for this to be a little better opportunity to present something today. I've got a summary of 256 if I didn't get it to you. Basically, this is brought on behalf of the Firefighters Association, and we're changing several pieces in this legislation. The first part you'll see on page 1, line 17, active member. We're defining who an active member is in the fund, granted membership in accordance with the rules of the chapter, and who is not an inactive member, a suspended member or a retired member or withdrawn member. Go down and make a couple of changes on line 21. Just holding that, basically no change there. Line 24, the fire department holds a valid certificate of compliance by the Georgia Firefighter Standards and Training Council. We go over and I'm trying to figure the section here. We allow them on we allow them to pick up to 5. Currently in the code now, they can only select one beneficiary for their life insurance. And any insurance policies we have out there now, you can have multiple beneficiaries. So we're allowing them to go up to 5 beneficiaries, and I'm actually trying to find where that part is in this section. I apologize for not having these things numbered here. we go through, we allow members to select up to the 5 beneficiaries. We're increasing the maximum fine. The big thing here is increasing the maximum fine imposed on any person who knowingly makes false statements. Knowingly makes a false statement to the board to try to pursue their benefits. We're changing the fine from $500 to $2,000. And then it authorizes the board to order a member to forfeit up to all rights and benefits entitled to under the fund if they knowingly make false statements, knowingly obtain benefits that are not eligible to receive, or knowingly attain an amount greater than they are eligible to receive. And this would only apply to improper actions that occur on or after July the 1st, 2015. And then we go on down, it clarifies certain provisions in here that have certain members who have a break-in service greater than 30 days must meet the current criteria for active status in order to be reinstated. An active member who leaves work as a firefighter may take leave of absence and keep her contributions in the fund. The member would become inactive and be required to reapply for a leave or absence every 2 years. Inactive members may become reinstated as active members provided they meet the eligibility criteria for membership. And active members got to pay the membership contribution of $25. And members who are in arrears for 6 months are deemed to be suspended. So that's basically what the bill does. And I've got Morgan and other people here if we have questions that I can't answer.
Okay, that selecting the 5 beneficiaries on Section 7, if not already found that.
Yeah.
All right, we do have a question. Representative Kuhn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Maxwell, 2 questions really. One, I see in Section 6 and 7 that you are changing the number of beneficiaries up to 5, but in line 208 and then again in line 218, you say that it has to be split equally among the selected members or equally apportioned among the selected beneficiaries. Can you, and it's also again at 226, can you explain why it would need to be equally split?
Oh, that was the way the board decided they wanted to do it. Just make it easier on the board and trying to split. I know in life insurance policies we can do 60% to one, 40% to another. Mm-hmm. But the board said if they want multiple beneficiaries, they didn't want to have to go in there and fuss. They want them all equally. And I believe, Morgan, is that correct?
Yeah, this came as a request from the Firefighters Association. And, you know, it's going to be a little extra work on our part. And we you know, if you have 3 and we can divide it evenly, it never comes into question. And they were happy with getting that equal pro rata.
Okay. And then the second question is down in line 237, where you're changing the fine amount to $2,000 from $500. How did you come to that particular number?
I think they wanted to make this thing sort of punitive. If you go in here and knowingly falsify documents, if you go in there and say that you've had training you haven't had, and if somebody signs off on it, they want to put some teeth in that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's the maximum punitive damage for misdemeanor.
Yeah,
Well, the maximum for a misdemeanor is 1,000. The misdemeanor for high and aggravated nature, I think, can go up to 5,000. So that's why I was just curious about how 2,000 was the number we picked. I have a problem with it. I just wanted to know what.
That was just what the board felt like would be a good number.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On line 130, I guess it's 139, 137 through 139, it changes the refund of the dues paid by such member to monies as provided in the code section 47-7. Is that a different amount? I mean, does that include more than just what's paid in?
Well, dues would be just dues, but we also allow for buybacks at the actuarial rate for service served, but when you weren't a member. And it is possible to do that buyback before you vest, and then you leave the service. And right now, just saying the dues, you wouldn't get that buyback money back.
Okay.
And not vesting, we just felt it was fair to return all money.
So all money that you paid in, that's basically what we're giving back, nothing more. Just right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Representative Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Representative Maxwell, for your work on this bill. You know that I'm in the funeral business, and when working with families for a funeral, in dealing with beneficiaries, sometimes we use funding companies to pay for a funeral, and that funding company requires the beneficiary to sign off on documents. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear. Is this bill, you stating 5 beneficiaries, so are this like the primary beneficiary, the contingent, or all 5 of these are going to be primary, or I'm just
All 5
trying.
of these could be a primary beneficiary split equally. You could have 20% going to each one. And that's the way life insurance policies can be set up also. You don't have to have a primary and contingent. You can write it up with 5 equal beneficiaries.
So I'm just trying to understand if
Yeah.
I'm dealing with a family that's,
You'd have to get all 5 of them to
you
sign
get all
off on it.
5 of them to sign before I can get paid.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah. Thank you.
You can hold
Yeah.
the body out.
I can hold the body out.
we haven't had this situation. They've always been limited to 1 up until this point in time, and 1 was just, I mean, you've got families that, if you've got, you may have 2 or 3 children out here and you want to split it equally. And we just decided, we had first thought about 3, and then they thought, well, what if you got more than 3 kids or something? So 1 is what they had in there in the past, and that just wasn't working for them. They had a real issue, and you wanted to split it, so they come up with a maximum of 5.
So any other questions for the chairman? Do I have a motion? We have a motion to pass and a second. All in favor, let me know by saying aye. Any opposition? Same sign. All right.
Thank you, members of the committee. Next bill is a substitute. It is LC, it's House Bill 217. It's LC 43009S. And I'm bringing this on behalf of the ACCG and GMA. GMA had a little issue last year, and I gave some of you guys some talking points on this bill. The Attorney General's office last year wrote a little letter saying that it was July 14th, 2014, attorney with the Georgia Department of Law issued a letter to the Georgia Department of Audits and Accounts in response to an inquiry from a department regarding whether the Georgia law allows public retirement systems to invest in mutual funds. The letter advised that it appears that public retirement systems may not invest in mutual funds under Georgia law. Well, all of our small retirement systems use that. Now, ERS and TRS are not included in this legislation because they have their little Wall Street over on North Avenue. And if y'all haven't had a chance to go over there and visit, you need to see that. It's quite a working station over there. They do all their direct investments. They don't go through mutual funds because of the fees involved. But our smaller retirement systems need this mechanism to invest, and that's why we're bringing this. It's clarifying language that allows these folks to do that. And I've got several people here that will be willing to testify on the need for this. But that's what we're trying to do to make our funds in accordance with Georgia law.
All right. Do we have any questions of the author? All right. Representative Wilkerson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One quick question. Is there any, I guess what's the riskiest type mutual fund? I mean, is there really risky mutual funds that could be invested in that would change the portfolio mix of this? Or
I don't
are we still
know
looking
of
at
anything other than
I mean, I think that, we've got a list of what we can invest in, and, you use that as guidance, and, we're not going to go into private, we can't go into private equity mutual funds or something to that ilk. But, we're talking about our money market funds, large cap, stuff you would have in your own 401k, depending on your job.
But this bill would not, I guess, enlarge that pool of investments. I just want to make sure that that this would not allow us to invest in any more risky vehicles besides, because I guess you could have a riskier mutual fund, but. Okay.
It's just it's another vehicle. It's
Yeah.
not, what you invest in. It's what you would invest in. Like for us, we couldn't invest internationally without having this in there. We can't keep cash. We can't have money market funds. We can't even do.
Yeah.
We have no risk. So, you leave that. No, I don't believe so.
Okay, and the only reason I guess just asking, I know there's limits on what we can invest. Like we don't do, I guess, mezzanine loans or something like that, or different risk derivatives. I don't know if we, do things like that. But if they're in a mutual fund those type of investments are in a mutual fund, does it allow you to then invest in those products through that mutual fund?
I can tell you our funds we don't do. We don't.
Okay.
And I don't know if any of them do. On the back of the little talking points here, it talks about the mutual funds, reasons to amend the public retirement system investment authority law to specifically include mutual funds and commingled funds. Mutual funds and commingled funds have enormous breadth of use and acceptance among all individual and institutional investors. They provide significant diversification, efficiency of use, competitive cost structure. They're traded on the National Securities Clearing Corporation platform, provide daily trades and liquidity. I mean, these people get in and out of these things when they need liquidity. They're all, per the SEC, all existing money market mutual funds are classified. Money market funds are classified as mutual funds. I don't know if that's helping you or not. If mutual funds are not permitted under the Georgia Code, all public retirement systems would have to terminate use of any of these money market funds.
Sorry, Mr. And I'm not opposed to it. It's just I would just want to make sure that there are index mutual funds that just follow the market. There are ones that bring back cash, and then you have more risky investments. That I just want to make sure that we're not going to change our pool of eligible investments just by using the word mutual funds.
No.
Okay.
No, we're not doing that, and they've been doing this for years. This has been the standard in these funds. They just didn't want to have to divest if the law, or if somebody come down and said, "Hey, you can't do this." They couldn't afford to divest in mutual funds.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm not a sophisticated CPA or financial person. I'm a small town country lawyer, as you know.
Oh, good God.
Folks up in Cartersville. And my question really is kind of simple, and I may be asking the same question as my colleague and just not know it. But will passing this bill increase the risk exposure for the funds of the retirees that we're charged with caring for?
No, sir. They have asked for this. They need this passed so they continue doing what they've done in the past for the last, 20, 30, 40 years, ever since we've had these retirement systems.
Okay.
The smaller systems have to use these mutual funds for investment vehicles.
Thank you very much.
They're not opening up anything else.
I appreciate that short word answer. You used all short words that I could understand.
Well, if there's no other questions, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to go ahead and offer a motion to do pass.
Okay, there's no objection. We have a by committee substitute. I'm sorry. By committee substitute. LC 430099S.
Second by Debbie Butler.
And we have a motion and a second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, motion's carried. All right, thank you. And I will need to ask our vice chairman to come and take. No, I got to go right up there.
Seat's awful warm.
Be thankful.
All right. This will be House Bill 226 by Representative Battles.
All right, this is House Bill 217.
I'm sorry, 217.
Excuse me.
Am I on the wrong bill? Am I?
Ring a bell with
Help
me.
out.
Okay, let's get on the right one. 266.
266. All right.
Yes. This has to do with the retirement funds and investments. The only thing that is a change to this particular section is they've asked that there might be the words, the laws of the state upon domestic life insurance companies, and then refers to that to be restricted and imposed by Article 7 of Chapter 20 of the Code, which is Code 47. That's the only change. There has been some questions and some discussions that have come up on this particular striking of this, and I've asked a few people to speak to it. The first one, if this is okay with you, Mr. Chair, that I'm going to ask our legal counsel, who was involved with this many years ago, to speak to that. So, David, would you come and please speak to this and how this occurred? And if he's wrong, we're all been wrong for a long time.
Mr. Chairman, this truly is a housekeeping bill, and I've been around long enough to know when you say that, antennas go up and see what are you sneaking in on us. When I first started working back in the dark ages, 27 years ago, the Investment Authority for Public Retirement Systems were pegged to the Investment Authority for domestic life insurance companies. And around 2000, the insurance companies lobbied and got more and more liberal investment authority, and the retirement committee, being very conservative, got nervous about that. So they had me draft the Public Retirement System Investment Authority Law to establish the investment authority for public retirement systems and decouple them from the life insurance companies. And we did that in the legislation in 2000. We created that Article 7 of Chapter 20, which provides for the investment authority. And then we went through the code, and everywhere there was a mention of domestic life insurance companies, we struck that and put Article 7 of Chapter 20. 10 times in 10 different retirement systems, we made that change. Unfortunately, the bill drafter at the time missed one, and that's the one we're hoping to do away with. Now, among other things, this is probably my last appearance here, and I hate to leave this pending because it could cause mischief. I missed that one. It was in general provisions, but the very first thing that legislation did was put in a proviso in Chapter 20, which is the Public Retirement System Standards Law. Any other provision of law to the contrary notwithstanding, any public retirement system or pension fund supported wholly or partially by public funds shall be subject to the provision of this chapter. This code section applies without limitation to the Georgia Municipal Employees Benefit System created by Chapter 5 of this title, and to any association of like political subdivision which contracts with its members for the providing of assets. And so even though I missed that one reference, I think that provision would indicate that has been inoperative for these many years. Even though it's there, any other provision of law to the contrary notwithstanding, all public retirement systems are subject to the funding standards in Chapter 20.
Any questions? All right. Anything else, Mr. Chairman?
I wouldn't know what to ask or
All
say.
right. Then I will.
I mean, when you've had the legal, if there may be some others that want to speak to this, but I
there
think you did
others?
a great job.
We don't have a sign up sheet. Anybody else want to speak to this bill? All right. I'll entertain a motion.
A motion do pass, Mr. Chair.
All right. We have a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. We have, it carries.
Thank you, committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That it?
And that's it. If you'd like to dismiss us, and we'll go out.
Well, let's pass the offering plate first. And then
No, we got to have a song.
a song. You want to sing?
No.
All right. We're adjourned. Thank you.